everyone, this is Vaxie's Violet. Welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be showing off a fan-made Minecraft updates worth of little extra things that could be added. So the first idea is regarding the honeycomb item, which you can already use to wax copper blocks to keep them from oxidizing. But I think it would be interesting if you could use them on the candle, and then when you light it, it gives off like colored particles of wax, which I think would look something like this. I think this would be an interesting feature because you could use it as like a detail in your build. Or you could have like a candle and a holder on a wall or something, and it could be like it has the wax particles dripping down. So the second idea has to do with how the allay duping works, where you can feed them an amethyst shard and it'll make another allay. And my idea is you feed them a totem of undying, it will make a vex. One of these guys, which immediately disappeared, but you can see sort of what they look like. I think it'd be interesting if you could make these, even though they're hostile mobs, and currently you can only get them from evokers summoning them at you. Next idea also has to do with the allay duping, which would be, instead of just using amethyst shards, you could also use amethyst clusters, which can only be silk-touched, and blocks of amethyst to dupe the allay, and when you give it to them, it would be the amethyst cluster can make, 2 to 3 extra allays, and the block of amethyst, if you give it to one of them, could make like 3 to 5 of the allays. And this would be an easier way of getting loads of allays. Even if you have to gather more amethyst, it would be more time efficient, which I think would help for a lot of players trying to grind out like a bunch of allays for a farm or something. Next idea has to do with the skulk, triggers, and sensors and stuff. And I just think it would be interesting if you could place them on walls and ceilings instead of just on top of ground like that. I'm sure that's been done before, but I made my own version of it here as well. The next idea has to do with enchanted books. Namely, when you put them into an anvil, and normally if you put them in this way, the book in front of the enchanted book, it'll make this, which is not very helpful to you. But if you put it this way, it doesn't do anything. And I feel like it'd be cool if it did, consume the book and make 2 of this enchanted book. And that might be unbalanced, so you could probably, put diamonds into it or something like the amount of experience it wants you to give so you can rename or do something. You could use that to, balance out how much experience you would need to make the book. And you could put in, a better enchantment like that one, it would take more. And an even better one like that would take even more. And I think this would be, an interesting little thing, and probably also time-saving, so people don't have to, get tons of villagers to get all the enchanted books, going out to all the different biomes like they've set it up now. And it would also be probably a lot more convenient than just using an enchanted table if you don't have all the villagers. Also, speaking of enchanted books, it would be interesting if you could put them in a lectern like you could a normal book, book and quill or written book. And when you did, it could be something like this, where it tells you what the enchantment is and what it does. Like this. I've written it out here. And you could also put a knowledge book in here. So these are currently, you can't find them, I think, in the survival game. But if you could, it would be cool if you could put it in here and it would tell you, how to make something specific and what it does. So this is a diamond pickaxe and it shows you how to make it, and it's used for mining stone-like blocks, and it has attack damage, attack speed, and durability. You could also just have a picture of what the crafting recipe looks like in here somehow, which I think would be cool as well. Also related to books, you could get an achievement for burning a book called You're a Monster, which I think would be kind of funny, and a nice little addition to the game. The next idea has to do with pistons, and particularly how loud they are usually when they're firing over and over again like that. And I think it would be interesting if you could waterlog them, the same way you can waterlog a skulk sensor to stop it from making noise, even if it goes off. And you could also do this with a door, maybe, to keep the door from making a bunch of noise too. And I think that would just be a nice little like quality of life thing for people who make like, you know, mini games and redstone contraptions and stuff that end up being super loud because of all the moving parts. Also, it'd be kind of a funny thing if the pandas that sneeze would do it more often when they're within the particle range of the spore blossom. And speaking of spore blossoms, it would be great if you could place them under leaves, which you currently cannot do. I was just recently building spore blossoms, and I had no idea you couldn't place them on leaves until I did this build. And honestly, I feel like that is kind of a wasted opportunity. I think you could make some really nice looking stuff if you could put spore blossoms on leaves. I think it would also be cool if the stray cats that spawn in the Minecraft villages and one in Swamp Hut would hunt chickens the way that ocelots do, as you can see here. I feel like it makes sense for the stray cats to be hunting the chickens and parrots as well. I think is also a thing they hunt. I feel like it's also a missed opportunity to have not have the stray cats hunting the chickens. Another thing I think would be cool would be in the same way you can dye a sheep, you could also dye a shulker. And you currently can't do this, but you can use a command to get a colored shulker. And this is what it would look like, I think. Another thing that would be interesting would be if you could place a map on a lectern, like this. I just think that would be an interesting detail you could add in certain builds, or just like in like a cartographer's house, maybe in a village. Last idea has to do with beacons, and this is already like a suggestion that's sort of well known, but it's if you put a tinted glass block on top of here, instead of just shutting down the beacon, as you can see by the strength effect going down, it would just keep the beacon beam there but invisible. And my kind of addition to this is instead of completely getting rid of it, maybe it just makes it like really transparent so it's still technically there, and this the effect is still technically on, but it's like very unintrusive because it's invisible or nearly invisible. That is the end of this video. Hope you liked it, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.